And now, your feature presentation.
This ends with a ho ho ho.
Yeah, go now.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Welcome to the Cold Classic Podcast. Ho. Cameron Jones here, as always, with my co-host,
Mark Nussle.
Jordan Jones with my co-host,
Mark Nussle.
and
Cameron Jones.
okay, it just feels like,
Hopefully you never do that again.
oh.
Well, as you can probably tell by the
I
terrible...
wanted to do a sleigh bell thing, but I didn't want to say like I'm
Slay
about to
queen?
slay. Yeah, it was something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I fucking do this all the time, and I hate that people do in podcasts. Stop me from
What,
doing
ruining the openers?
it. Yeah, I do it I do it very often, and
Well-
I'm disgusted, but I can't stop myself.
I like it.
Well, let me stop you by saying, hey guys, we're doing the 1990 film Home Alone. When bratty 8-year-old Kevin McCallister acts out the night before a family trip to Paris, his mother makes him sleep in the attic. After the McCallisters mistakenly leave the airport without Kevin, he wakes to an empty house and assumes his wish to not have his family has come true. But his excitement sours when he realizes that 2 con men plan to rob his residence, and that he alone must protect the family home.
I made my family disappear.
I mean, the title says it all. Kevin McCallister is left home alone over Christmas.
From the guy who brought you Mrs. Doubtfire, Rent, Harry Potter's 1 and 2, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurt, Catherine O'Hara,
Kevin!
Sneaky John Candy. Music by John Williams.
This was an early glimpse at the failings of the police system.
Don't call Child Protective Services, it's just the 90s.
Kevin's a bit of a shithead, his family's kind of shitty too, everyone got their comeuppance and didn't learn their lesson because there's a sequel to this.
When Kevin's family left for vacation, they forgot one minor detail. Kevin. But don't worry, he cooks, he cleans, and he kicks some ass. And he kills people.
It's the whimsical Christmas story of neglect. Home Alone.
Cast and crew. Let's start with the director, Chris Columbus. Fun name, not fun background if you're doing a Google search.
Sailed the ocean blue. But a big fan of his, obviously the early Harry Potters, nostalgic, warm family. Love it. Mark, what are some other Christopher Columbus movies?
Mrs. Doubtfire,
Love
Rent,
Like
Home
it.
Alone 2, Bicentennial Man, Harry Potter's 1 and 2, and most maybe memorable, Pixels.
Oh, I did know he did Pixels.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he did Pixels.
Not to be confused with that movie you like that's like Pixels, but by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, Ready Player One, that's a great movie.
So those are his
Exactly.
director credits. He's produced a lot of movies as well. Jingle All the Way. Go back and listen to Jingle All the Way. The first 3, Harry Potter's, Night at the Museum, Fantastic Four, The Help. Did that win an Oscar?
I can't remember exactly, but it's up for things.
Nominated.
And I think Gremlins 3, he's credited for that. That's
There's
coming
a
out soon.
Gremlins 3?
Not yet.
Slated. Okay, I got you.
He kind of created a little corner of great action-adventure family films.
Yeah, 100%.
But does them well.
Yeah, does
them well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, honestly, when I think of Steven Spielberg, I also now kind of think of Christopher Columbus for giving you a big family adventure. Those are kind of 2 names I trust in that genre.
Yeah, there's 2 people that split off, even though I don't think Christopher Columbus worked with them. He went more the kids route, and then obviously J.J. Abrams just is Steven Spielberg.
This sort of helps the Christopher Columbus family adventure that you're talking about. John Hughes was the writer. He did Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, Christmas Vacation, Flubber.
He passed away a few years ago, but God, Flubber, you
Probably like
dick.
10 years
16.
ago now.
He directed Ferris Bueller's actually. Directed 16 Candles.
I mean, you know him for the Brat Pack in the 80s movies
Trains,
that you grew up
Automobiles.
watching, if you're of that age.
Do you want a little unverified trickle up or save it?
Give it.
Just forget it.
trickle it right on up.
We're going to trickle right on up. It's going to be like reverse motion capture. It's like, how is it growing in fast
Tenet.
motion? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I think that originally John Hughes was maybe going to direct it, but something fell through and they like bumped up Christopher Columbus.
okay.
Because he had worked as like...
We'll get to it on Verified. He was actually slated to direct
well,
another movie.
he's trickling
I
it
trickled up. I just thought...
Well, just because I don't have the note and I can't remember the movie.
Okay,
That's why.
back down.
That's why it will
We'll
work.
get to
You
it.
trickled back down on your ass.
Yeah, we're it's a downward slope. You can't go up.
Music by John Williams. If you don't know John Williams,
You do if
you
you're
haven't
listening
seen
to
Star
this.
Wars.
I mean, he works with
You
Christopher
haven't seen
Columbus
Harry
and
Potter.
Spielberg mostly. Well, not
You know,
mostly, but just like a lot of the big ones.
Anything he damn well wants.
True. Now.
Onto the cast, we've got Macaulay Culkin, plays the main character Kevin, Little Kev. Nutcracker, the Page Master.
Never seen The Pagemaster.
Richie.
The Good Son. I mean, we can go on about Macaulay
My girl.
Culkin. He's coming back now. He's looking good. He's looking healthy.
Yeah, he
Good
made
for
it
him.
through. We're not gonna touch on the Michael Jackson stuff.
Nope.
Didn't happen.
You don't want to touch on it?
He doesn't want
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Macaulay Culkin's like, it didn't happen. It's like, but
Moving on, Joe Pesci plays Harry, one of the crooks. Goodfellas, The Irishman, Casino.
Gangster movies.
a gangster except this movie.
Yep. Well, only pretty much is.
Yeah, he's still in the mafia. He's just
Oh, he would dream of being in the mafia with this role.
moving on to Marv. Daniel Stern plays Marv.
Oh, crap. I was just about to say what he's in. Then
He's in 3 big movies from my childhood.
City Slickers.
Rookie of the Year.
City Slickers and Rookie of the Year. And I'm sure he's in a lot more, but those are 3
This
big
one
ones from my
shocked
childhood.
the fuck out of me. He's the narrator in The Wonder Years.
My mom
I
told me
didn't
that
know
on the
that.
phone the other
Narrator
day.
in The Wonder Years.
It doesn't sound like him.
Not at all.
really.
Blew my mind. I was on the phone with my mom the other day, and she told me like 20 facts to remember. Forgot them all, but that was the only one that I'm like, oh, wow.
That's a good one to remember. I mean, like,
Damn, in
I had to
all
go back
honesty,
and listen to like the pilot. Like, you
I
can
haven't seen The
kind of
Wonder
hear
Years.
it, but the dad, John Hurd,
John Hurt.
Peter.
Actually, what's surprising about him is normally he plays the
R.I.P.
dick.
died
True.
recently,
He just died?
like a few years ago. Yeah.
Really? I
think so.
Totally missed that. I'm sure I said it at the Oscars when they showed me his face. I'm like, he
We
died?
just did Big, like
Yeah.
a few episodes ago. So he was in Big. He's kind of the asshole in Big.
I feel like more often his character type is big.
True.
And this one's a
yeah.
departure. He seems like a real
it's-
nice guy.
It's fun having him be the fun guy. Well, neglectful father, but a nice guy.
At least aloof. He's not intentionally doing anything.
aloof for sure.
Yeah.
That's fine.
The mom is played by Catherine O'Hara.
I mean, she's come up a million times. The Christopher Guest movies.
Schitt's Creek, obviously.
I haven't
Almost
watched
is
Schitt's
one.
Creek. Good, bad,
Great.
watchable.
Very good. Very good. It's a slow start, though. It doesn't just hit you off the head. I hate when people say this, but you got to give it, like, a season.
Let's touch on Old Man Marley for a sec. Roberts Blossom. He was in Escape from Alcatraz.
I've
worth
never
noting.
seen that movie.
I actually neither have either.
I want
it's
to.
a good one.
Great poster.
True.
Or for me, at least.
We're not going to touch on a lot of the cousins and the siblings.
Doesn't matter.
You got the one guy from Pete and Pete. He's sneaky in there.
Yeah,
He's
we
one
got,
of the
we got
Petes.
Pete.
Uncle Frank, we should mention.
You little jerk.
Jerry Bammon. He was in the Bodyguard. Let's keep moving. John Candy's in this movie briefly. Gus Polinski.
Cool Runnings.
Plants, Trains, Automobiles. Spaceballs. Kieran Culkin plays young Fuller.
Fuller's going to piss himself.
Should also just say
Scott Pilgrim.
Both Catherine O'Hara and John Candy came from Canada, the same improv CBT, SCTV.
I
Yeah.
thought you meant they came from.
Oh no, they came from like the same comedy classes, like Eugene Levy and I'm pretty sure Rick
Don't say Levy
Moranis.
ever
It's
again.
their Second City.
Yeah, it's the Canadian version of Second City, essentially.
And then just the last one I do want to mention is the Santa.
Oh
The
yeah,
shitty
because
Santa.
he's popped up before actually.
Ken
that
Hudson
guy?
Campbell. He was in Armageddon. He's like the bigger guy in Armageddon.
That's the guy. I'm like, he seems familiar. Definitely wasn't going to come up with that.
Go back and see our episode of Armageddon.
And I tried to pull some movies from these other guys, like Buzz, like
Doesn't matter. He's in Home
Brock,
Sweet Home
Aunt
Alone.
Leslie, Midge, Georgette. That none of them have anything.
Not important. We
It's
hit
tough.
We got Pete.
This is a pretty big cast, and we hit the main hitters that you want to hear about. So let's just move on to Unverified.
Unverified.
Welcome to Unverified in the Cult Classics Podcast Movie Phone. The date is November 1990, and currently in theaters, you could have seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 4.
Fuck.
We have a lot of sequels here. Jacob's Ladder. We got a title here.
Get the family together and watch Jacob's Ladder. I guess that's not a family film. That's more of a, hey, did you guys hear Jacob's Ladder? It's really, really, really sad.
Three Men and a Little Lady. So not
It's a
three
sequel.
Yeah.
There is no ghost in that one?
Who's to say? Rescuers Down Under.
Love that.
That's a great one for me.
That's great.
Predator 2.
That's fine.
Another
That's fine.
sequel.
He keeps
That's
dogging
fine.
us. He
That's
keeps
Child's
dogging us.
Play
Two?
2. Another sequel for you. And then a real gem for Jordan, Dances with Wolves was in theaters at this time.
Gem for everybody.
Well, true, but-
It's a white... Now listen, guys.
But also out November 18th, 1990 was Home Alone. And that's what you chose.
Should we talk about how? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Should we talk
I
about
was
how?
just going to go on a
Yeah,
Dances with Wolves rant.
Oh yeah, hold on.
You were right to do it, Mark.
I'm just like, I think this is a perfect time for this movie to be released right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, it's when you need it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it lasts through the holiday season.
And I don't know if this is why it happened, but the box office return, it was like an $18 million budget, made for like $400 million at the box office. Now, here's the deal. There's a lot of factors. I think it was a success that was a surprise to everybody. But to your point, there's so many of these Halloween movies and Christmas movies that are released in like July, and we're like, that just doesn't make fucking sense. But this one, Mark,
they nailed it.
Yeah.
Hit it on the head. One thing that I do like, and Unverified, something to look out for if you've never seen the movie. So a lot of people have questions of like,
are we on Unverified?
No, we're on Unverified, but this is actually just something to look out for, like a detail in the movie. So people ask, like, wouldn't they notice that there's too many tickets and not enough people at like the front desk at the airline, like even though they're rushing through. But actually, if you watch when Kevin spills like the milk during the pizza scene, his dad, Peter, swipes Kevin's ticket into the garbage. So actually, it makes sense from the beginning that Kevin never would have even been able to get on the plane.
That was going to be a big discussion point, but rewatch it. If you're new to this movie or you haven't seen it, they throw away the ticket.
I miss it every time.
Yeah, I never caught it. I just know it's a fact.
I watched it 2 days ago and I missed that still.
It's there. They swipe it
It
up.
is there. I mean, I know it's there.
But I would like to get ahead of this. That could be a Mandela. I'm going to say it now. That didn't exist before YouTube 4 years ago. That's what I think.
Okay. This is kind of messed up. In the original screenplay, it was a little crazier, where Harry and Marv were actually hired by Uncle Frank. And Uncle Frank was like affiliated with like, I think the mob or something. And originally they were also going to have Uncle Frank say, just kill Kevin. Get him out of the way.
You're just doing fan fiction right now. I don't know. This isn't Unverified. This is just fan fiction.
The original script, the original screenplay got cut out and when it got cut down. But that was the original plot, Mark.
That's probably good.
Yeah. Takes a little of that family friendliness out of there.
Joe Pesci deliberately avoided Macaulay Culkin on set because he wanted to come off as mean to Macaulay Culkin. Just wanted to kind of scare him a little bit.
We get that a lot with movies where we hear about people getting a little character. And it's always with kids' movies, I feel like, with the villains being dickish to the kids, which I feel like would be easy for me to lean into. Also, just kind of leaning off of that, Joe Pesci's come off of a lot of R-rated gangster movies, and Christopher Columbus had to continually remind him, you can't say fuck. So that's why he kept saying frickin' in like really close words.
Which I love that aspect of the movie.
So that's not scripted. That's just all he could do to not swear.
Yeah, to not say fuck.
Bouncing off of that, I'm pretty sure Chris Columbus was like, hey, do the scene from Goodfellas. We're like, I don't want you to like, yo, you laugh. What's so funny?
Oh, that'd be
funny enough. Christopher Columbus did do that. Not only did he like it so much, he made him do that with Marv in the van. He's like, "What? What do you think?" Like they kind of did like a version.
You're sick, man.
Yeah, you're sick.
No, I'm not sick.
To piggyback off of gangster movies, the Snakes movie in this, you know what you're looking at. That whole plot point. They made that fictional gangster movie for this movie.
For some reason, growing up, that's always the only fact I knew about this as a kid.
It's one of my favorite ones,
this.
though. Like, because you always like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's just like a movie,
yeah,
right?
I always assumed, when I was a little kid.
Which is funny though, because I thought that later on in the movie, when they're in France, they're watching
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life in French, and I thought that was a fake movie because it was before my time. I'm like, that's not real.
Just working off that fact from earlier, the movie that originally Christopher Columbus was supposed to work on John Hughes with was Christmas Vacation, but Christopher Columbus just could not get along with Chevy Chase, so he walked away from the project. And then they had this idea, so we just bumped him to Home Alone.
Interesting.
That's great.
Well,
Isn't that the worst thing? Because
you hear that all the time about Chevy Chase.
Yeah, he's obviously an asshole, but he must be just that talented enough whatever the movement. It's hard to get fired for your whole career. Yeah. He still gets chances.
True. I mean, he's hilarious. He's still a funny guy.
But even Community, they're like, he's awful
he's
the entire time. But he was on there for 5 seasons.
True. What else do you guys have?
Catherine O'Hara revealed in 2014 that Macaulay Culkin still calls her mom.
That's fun. That's cute.
Is it weird or is it fun?
No, it's definitely weird.
It's kind of weird.
It's weird.
It's nice.
But in his defense, his childhood got taken from him.
Yeah.
He's fine. He made it through.
Have you seen my childhood?
Again, we're not touching on it. It did not happen.
This is
Don't touch on anything.
Just don't even. I'm not going to touch that. But Corey Feldman did get touched.
Oh, I have something cool to show you later. Remind me after the podcast about Corey Feldman.
Can't wait. Sorry, guys. Corey Feldman, we'll hope you get through it, too.
This is another...
We're all rooting for you.
This is another one I just knew kind of always growing up. The picture of Buzz's girlfriend was actually a picture. It was a picture of a little boy. It's actually... who was it? It's Dan
like
Webster's son, the art director's son. And they just dressed him up as a girl because Christopher Columbus said he didn't want to be that cruel. And
that
to a little
picture
girl.
just gets me to laugh every time. That's just so funny.
Buzz, your girlfriend.
Whoa. But you can use that quote with so many things.
In that same scene where he's pulling shit out of the Buzz's chest, he pulls out like a Playboy magazine, and apparently they taped all the pages shut so Macaulay didn't. I don't know why they used an actual Playboy magazine.
That was my thought. Why not just have a cover on any magazine or just...
They taped all the pages shut so he wouldn't see titties or...
From what I hear about Macaulay Culkin moving on in his career, like he probably had strippers in his...
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like I think he lived pretty wild on these sets. Well, he was always eating candy and Coke and fucking going crazy.
I forget
Maybe this is me filling in dots. Sorry, go ahead.
I forget the thing went off there, but there's another kids movie where they use the exact same, I guess, Playboy magazine. So
that's fun.
Again, why not just get a fake one? But cool, nice. Cool. This one's just like a fun cinematography one, but a lot of the shots at the beginning of the movie, they focus on Kevin being like shot from above and down so that it makes him seem more childish and innocent and fear. Then as the movie goes on, it starts getting more equal until the end of the movie where it starts shooting from up so that Kevin seems taller and more confident and grown up.
I am the captain now. I murder.
He's the murderer. So that's just something to look out for, just like a little camera work that helps do some storytelling that I always like in these.
It's subtle, you don't notice, but it's playing its part.
We were talking about Guinness Book of World Records yesterday on the other podcast, Mark. Guess what?
Plug your podcast.
Guess what? This movie hit a Guinness Book of World Record. They were entered for the highest grossing comedy of $477 million worldwide.
What are we doing, Guinness?
Whatever you want.
Whatever they want.
Here's the deal. They're fact-checking the records. Who's fact-checking Guinness? No one.
True.
It's kind of like listening to Paul McCartney tell a story. Nobody's going to call you out on it.
I only have one more fact, even though this has a million. I only wrote down one more, and this one's just a fun, cute one. When 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin got tired on set, he would just lie down and take naps in between shots.
And delay shooting for a month.
Come on, Macaulay.
There was a happy accident that I think made the movie better. They weren't originally going to have the movie have snow everywhere, but there was a snowstorm on like the first day of shooting. They're like, we got to have snow in all the shots now, and obviously it added to the Christmas feel.
That's a accident.
Take that out, we're fucking Jingle All the Way, and you're wondering where's the snow and why is it so steamy?
Go back and listen to 4 Christmases.
Go back and listen to Jingle All the Way. And all our holiday classics.
To promote a stronger Christmas feel, red and green are major recurring colors throughout the movie. Like literally everything.
Everything in the house, their furniture, you can tell.
Furniture, carpet, wallpaper, silverware, napkins, it's all just red and green.
And it helps. It honestly really helps with the Christmas vibes of this movie.
Yeah, that's what every Christmas movie should do. If you're going to do it, do it.
Obviously, we've talked about this before, but the exterior of the house is in the suburbs of Illinois. It is an actual location.
Illinois.
But the interior of the house was filmed in a high school pool, I believe. Or is that just the end scene? Am I wrong there, Mark?
Just the flooded scene.
Okay, the flooded scene was a house set they built inside of a high school pool, so they
the neighbor's
flooded
house,
out.
I guess.
Yeah, so just that one scene. I always thought it was the whole McCallister house was in that high school. They shot in the high school.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the McCallister house, they built sets, and there's a whole thing. We all learned this from that Netflix show, I assume.
Yep.
Go and listen to that if you want to explain
The Movies That Made Us on Netflix, a great documentary.
Anyway, they as part of their soundstage, they just rented a high school for the summer and built sets in their gym. Most of the house sets. And there's a bunch of great facts on that Netflix documentary.
Yeah, check that out for the rest.
The scream that Daniel Stern belts out during the tarantula scene was filmed actually after the fact because they weren't sure like if the tarantula would like bite him or if they had ears or what the fuck tarantulas do. So they filmed that after the fact, which is kind of funny. I read this unverified before watching the movie, and I don't know, just watching somebody maybe like belting out a silent scream is kind of
that is funny. Yeah.
And it's a scream.
It's an impressive
He lets
scream.
out some crazy screams.
It's a blood-curdling scream. I like how the part of that fact is like, nobody knows what a tarantula's going to do. I mean, we got a guy that wrangles them, but he doesn't know.
This movie has a million facts, and there are a lot of good ones, but there are also a lot of good sources for this, so we don't want to beat a dead horse here. So if there are ever any really cool facts, make sure you write them on the movie poster on our social media and get the conversation going there. But we're going to move on to questions.
Comments.
Animosities.
Questions, comments, animosity.
Well, first comment, we've just talked about it, but magical score. John Williams killed it out of this.
Let's get in the music a little bit.
Somebody give it a little bit.
That's the beginning, the creepy stuff. Then you just have like, there it is. Now we're back into it.
And let's not forget they do some tubular bells at the end. Some exercise.
We got the choir too. Now, Jordan,
scary.
you were asking me, is this a classic score because it's John Williams or because it's a classic movie?
Mark, I never asked him that in my life. It's put words in my mouth. I never said that. No, I do. I did wonder that. Rephrase my question again. I interrupted you.
Oh, that was all. Just is it a classic score because of John Williams, or the movie's classic, or do they lean on each other?
Hear me out. Do that very first little motif again, Cameron. You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, BD.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
in the middle of every John Williams song is the middle of every John Williams song. So, like, there's like some middle of these scores that definitely sound like, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, what have you. But I think to answer Cameron's question, which was actually my question,
Sure was.
is I think it's a little column A, column B, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think most things that come out of John Williams are going to be classics if the movie is good. I mean, if the movie's big and John Williams did a score on it, it's just going to hit.
This is a classic Christmas movie, and it has a John Williams score.
Yep.
still kind of keeping on the music beyond the score is the soundtrack.
That's a great point. We shouldn't overjump
like
that.
Run Run Rudolph when they're running through the O'Hare Airport. Like,
Yeah.
Jingle Bell Rock.
Jingle Bell
It has
Rock.
a lot of hits in it.
They even use "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." So
Carol
well,
the Bells.
Yeah, it's true. It's
really does hit it.
equal part score and soundtrack. The soundtrack's just as big as this. I didn't
It's
even think
everything that Four Christmases isn't. it truly is.
of that. So we just did that. Go back and listen to our Four Christmases episode. It's the opposite of this one. No joy, no merriment, nothing.
So first comment about the actual movie. Animosity. It is crazy that everyone is ignoring the cop, but him as a cop isn't like, hey, listen to me. I need some attention over here. Like everyone just walking by him. If there was a cop in my house, I would immediately be like, what's wrong?
Yeah, if you lived there. If you were Uncle Frank, you'd be like, not my business.
I guess that's true. I mean, I guess that is the answer.
So there's a whole category we're in here. How much of a monster is this family at the beginning? Is it just hustle and bustle, or are they bad people?
Column A, column B. They definitely have a big house. They're rich. They seem rich. So I mean, I'm inclined to hate them a little bit for that. Kevin himself is spoiled.
The biggest misconception is that the dad pays for the trip, though.
Good point.
That's true. But I mean, okay.
It's still a mansion in Winnetka.
that's just it.
I've been wrong about that for years. It is their brother in France who buys everybody
and
plane
everybody
tickets.
who knows that is very quick to correct you on that if they do know that.
But I'm quick to also say he has a multi-million-dollar house in the suburbs of Chicago, so he does something.
Oh no, he's fine. We just were all wondering. This is a nice house, but not buying everybody plane tickets. Nice.
No, but
I didn't learn anything about this movie before 4 years ago once people started talking about it.
True. But I would like to know what he does. But Kevin is a little shit, and his family sucks too, though. I will say all around.
A little something about that neighborhood in Winnetka. Mm-hmm. I feel like that'd be a great Halloween spot. I know this is a Christmas movie, but like
Any
a trick or
season.
treat. Like, could you imagine trick or treating at the McCallisters?
Yeah, to quote the movie though, everybody's giving out good candy.
You'd have to bob for apples
But
there.
that's the silver tuna. Like, you're getting good stuff there. You're getting full-size candy bars.
Full-size candy bars.
You might even get a hot drink or a full pop. I don't know. Whatever you want.
Well, to also go to a talking
a
point of
little
Jordan
nip for
from
the adults, maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Nip. Also to go into a talking point, though, from Jordan from other podcasts, though, they might have an HOA. They might not allow some of this stuff, Mark. It's a very hoity-toity neighborhood.
I would say this is why I'm not getting HOA. Just a bunch of differences in house-to-house lights.
true,
They'd
that's
all be
true.
the same.
Now, also another talking point of Jordan's that he loves bringing up, but animosity.
He's just throwing words right in that damn
I've
mouth of
never
yours.
said this. I don't. And we're not going to talk about that
They
either.
would never get to O'Hare on time. They would never make that
guys.
plan. Okay, flights changed
I don't
over the
know
years.
when I-
Security's changed over the years. But even then, with its laxness, you couldn't get there in 45 minutes
So
from the
I don't know
Burbs.
if they're supposed to be in Winnetka, Illinois, but they are in a suburb of Illinois, right?
Right.
So
Winnetka's right on the water. It really is.
I mean, you
It's on
just
the lake.
you can't get there.
You're not
going to
get there. Mark's pulling up. It is right on the lake.
So, the timeline of their morning is something we can talk into length again, just so much about, and we will. But I do
Does
want to
this
say,
have four-wheel drive?
Oh, that
Does
kid.
this van get good gas mileage?
so that's the kid that's posing as Kevin, the neighbor kid. I watched that scene. I'm like, can't wait to have his house robbed and all fucking just.
Is that his house?
Well, I mean, he lives around there, right?
He's going somewhere. Yeah, he's going to Florida or something.
Yeah,
if I
sounds
He's
recall.
going to
flooded.
Florida. His house got flooded. Just the meanest thing to flood someone's house.
Oh, yeah, he's making a huge insurance problem and scam.
You're
and
sick. You really are. You're sick.
At that
I'm not
moment,
sick.
At least next year with the sticky bandits, it's much less harmful, you know? Still a gimmick.
yeah, but man, that flooding really pissed me off. I mean, like, just steal all the shit, but don't flood it.
Beginning of the movie, if Kevin is like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years older, this is like the best thing ever. He's like, oh, I'm going to throw a rager and this just turned into Holiday Project X.
Oh, I found Buzz's spice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I
yeah.
found Buzz's stash and all of his porn too. Dope.
Okay, so Kevin's 8 years old, which is old enough to sort of be self-sufficient in some way, but not to this manner that he is.
Right.
But with his age, and I really listened to this in the movie, he should not be packing his own bag for an overseas trip. For a flight, let alone a weekend trip. Pack your own bag? What a psycho.
Yeah, overseas. Yeah, again, bad family.
And his like teenage brothers and sisters like, I bet you're going to have mom pack your bag, loser. It's like, yeah, I think she will. She should.
He's single digits.
Or dad, somebody should.
Well, he's what they call les
Compétent. That is true.
You're such a disease, Kev.
Oh, there's so many good one-liners literally from that first 20 minutes. It's insane.
It might be more quotable than the
quotable.
rest of the movie. I mean,
I did wake up, this is just a comment, one time, it was just over a weekend as a Kevin McCallister, where I woke up and for some reason everyone in the family had like gone to Cedar Rapids or something, but just like not woken me up. I was like 10 or 11, so like it was fine. But I just woke up like, where the hell is everybody? And you guys were like gone for 3 to 4 hours, but I just watched TV.
A good scene is like when he just has his bed head, and I can just see Cameron like eating cereal, and like with super bed head, and like just having him notice that.
To make it even more
gone.
Kevin McCallister, I was like hungry in the morning, and I was like getting hunger pains, but I was like, who's gonna make me food?
how old were you?
Again, like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, I don't know. So, like, old enough to bake food and be home alone. This is an animosity I have that goes to one, just Joe Pesci as the cop there, and just their whole robbery. Granted, we know that a lot of people are out of the neighborhood for the week, but they are implicating themselves in the crime scene all over the place. They went to everybody's house beforehand and got FaceTime. Then they were just like easy peasy going robbing during the daytime, driving the van.
The cop does say that. He's like, well, now we know like each spot you hit.
yeah, that's true.
Like Wet Bandits, that whole thing just like implicated them to every crime
So
scene.
the whole time of this, the timeline
Marv
of
wanted
this,
that though.
yeah. They're not on the same page. For
Not
sure.
no, yeah.
I don't. Did they meet in jail, or I don't know how they meet? I'd not be interested.
Marv wants this to be like a Bonnie and Clyde situation.
If you want to go,
he's going out in a blaze of glory.
if you want to go original screenplay, they work for Frank's company and they were there to rob his brother.
Okay, so there you go.
And eventually kill Kevin.
So he always had it out for Kevin.
Well,
that
maybe,
original screenplay.
maybe his dad fucking hated like his own son and was like, I don't want him to be.
Oh, now we're in a film noir
Paris.
movie.
I have seen things on that on Reddit threads of like, did they really forget Kevin? Or
Why was Kevin's essential plane?
they were
ticket,
just
like,
going to leave him there to
why
die.
was Kevin's
We have,
plane
like,
ticket on the table anyways? Right,
with everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So there's a whole there's a whole conspiracy about that they
There's a fan.
intentionally forgot Kevin.
Well, there is a line though the next morning where Peter McCallister says, "I have the passports and the plane tickets drying off in the microwave." So it seems like all of them got wet. Kevin's is the only one that got
Does he
knocked
say
up.
that?
Yeah, he does. say that.
because they spilled milk on it, which again, that's a red flag. Do you guys drink milk with pizza?
I
Not
do.
with pizza.
No, that the deepest circle of hell is
I'm
pizza.
gonna give Catherine O'Hara
Actually,
now.
don't even drink
she
milk.
says we need to finish the milk before we leave. So
Then
she
Mom, you shouldn't have
cereal,
ordered
I do.
pizza. You should have gotten some cereal for us. I'm sure we're running out of that too.
This is just kind of fun, but the older I get, the more I realize how funny Uncle Frank is about being a cheapskate. Just like the champagne and stuff. Like, this is free, right? And just like
Fill it up.
Fill it up.
and just even like oh, this is my brother's house. He'll take care of it.
He takes the silverware from the plane. Put in your purse. Put in your purse.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man.
He's funny. Oh, and it even continues on to Paris. Frank, that shrimp is for later. Look what I found in the fridge. Without knowing
Frank
the
is
answer.
such a dick.
Without him in the movie, it's still a good movie, but he adds a lot of seasoning to it. You know what I mean? He's such
funny,
an
man.
asshole.
But I really didn't pick up on that until like the last few years ago watching.
Yeah, it's one of those things though. When you're a kid, you don't, it's
You're not paying
all the
attention to
nuance.
him.
And movies like this that are such classics that you watch year after year, you don't always pay it the same attention that you should.
True.
And when you decide to, you're like, oh, this movie's so good. I like so many moments of this. Here's the thing about the family. I still don't know whose kids belong to who in this goddamn.
I figured it out a little bit this time. The older one in the coat that does the counting, she's related
She's
to the people in Paris, and there's one other one.
No, not Frank.
That's it. The rest are just the McCallisters' mainstay. All of them live there.
Some of
No.
I think I don't know, man. I don't
Okay.
fucking know.
There are people in France. All right.
No, I got that.
Okay,
and I know the oldest kid.
I'm gonna
that
shoot you
goes to
straight.
college-
We're not breaking this down to make it easier. We're just making more people who thought they understood some shit more confused. So I'm gonna say let's just stop this
I
point
think
here
what happened
and say that
is-
we don't know who's related to who, other than the tall old one is.
There is a clear-cut answer, though, because
There you have names and characters, and we
not
can
only that, Kevin holds her family picture up, so I'm sure I could just...
Yeah.
all I did was ruin this for you guys. I don't know who's related to who.
Here's the tipping
Fuller
point.
does have a parent there, though, right?
Yeah. Apart from like obviously the big animosity that we'll get to later of just like obviously Kevin would have killed those people, I think the biggest real animosity in this movie is the lack just the police involvement, how little they actually do for someone calling overseas and be like, we've left a single digit 9-year-old child alone. He's an unaccompanied minor. And like them just being like, he didn't answer the door. Like, isn't that enough for them to be able to go in the house?
Yeah, like we're telling you to just go in.
Yeah, the
Please,
parents are
go
like,
in.
we're calling, we fucked up, he's in there, go get him. Like, they should have done more. That's like a lot on
We're
CPD.
not telling you to like check if he's there. Go get him.
Yeah, go get him out of the house. Yeah, Jordan.
My hands up, because
Yeah.
this is a huge animosity.
hands up.
It would be great if the cops were told that. All she said is, you don't understand. My kid is home alone. She gave no context of that. We're
true.
in France. We're in France. Get in my house
It
and
is
look for my
Christmas
kid.
Eve.
It was her fault. I mean, the cops are pretty lazy, but it's the mom's fault.
Not to-
She didn't explain the situation at all to anybody. I listened for it. It irritates me. It's so bad on her part.
Not to victim blame someone who kind of is a neglectful parent and a victim.
Oh, excuse me.
But I'm
sorry. Yeah.
Well, no,
you
I'm
mean these monsters?
I'm about to agree with
He's
you.
about to victim blame.
I'm about to agree with you, but
Okay.
saying she does handle that kind of like a Karen. She explains nothing. She just gives everyone a lot of attitude when she's the one that left her child overseas.
I'm saying
and she does a
is-
bad job explaining. I agree.
I'm not here to defend the police, but there's a lot of blame to go around. And the fact that she never says anything except my kid is home alone. And it goes back to that kid is like, count the kids again. There's nobody here.
The whole cop attitude is actually, it's kind of funny though. When she's like, hype her on 2. And they're just like handing her back and forth. But
Tell her to count her kids again. Yeah, like, that's a wild line.
yeah.
I also like this is a trickle up like during that cop scene between the detectives and stuff switching back. I just like his donut eating the whole time.
You got to have it in there.
Yup, go ahead.
I don't know why I remember this vividly. It's just that
Donut
crumb
on the
falling
phone?
on
Oh,
the phone. I bet Chris Columbus was like, yes.
Thank you. Like, keep it in. Like, he probably took takes.
He
just
wanted
like,
to
we
lick
got
that
together.
little donut crumb right off that phone.
I do right
himself,
now.
I bet.
And people listening there, you know what we're talking about. You know
about.
exactly what we're talking about.
This is just something I was thinking about when I was watching the movie. So there's a few times where Kevin, like before the actual big, like I'm making booby traps, like the scene where he's making the Jingle Bell Rock and the dance scene with all the puppets.
Impossible.
They never mentioned when they were coming back. They were just like, we're coming back tonight.
He's there for 2 hours.
I'd
He's
like
there
to
for
believe
2 hours pulling strings.
Kevin was just dancing for like 5 hours, sweating his
I have
ass
this
off
exact same thing written down. That's so good.
We all had it. Like, how long was he doing that?
until
for?
4 in the morning. So just,
Also, even if I'm a fucking idiot like Marv or Harry, like if I sit there for 2 minutes just kind of like staring at the silhouettes, like yeah, that's just fake. That's just
it's just going around in a circle.
Is Michael Jordan there?
Well, that's
Michael Jordan.
That's also what I was
Michael
thinking
Jordan?
this time. If I was
Is that 6'6" Michael Jordan?
one, just a comment that'll work into the other ones too. But like Kevin McCallister should be an engineer. He made some crazy things, and just during that dance scene, I was thinking, how could I make the outline of one human being? Let alone he had like 6 adults moving around. Like I had nothing like that around that I
Do you
could
know
have
what I
done
think
there
the craziest thing he did was laundry?
why did they have mannequins?
I don't
laying
think a
around
kid
together?
that young can do laundry.
Yeah,
Everything
I
else
wouldn't
checks. But laundry? Also, I have a big question about the laundry. They were only gone for 3 days. Why is he doing laundry?
He only wore 2
Where's-
outfits. Like he just like changed.
with. You could argue
He's
that,
like,
his stuff was packed, but I mean,
I guess the real argument is that family's a nightmare, so they probably left like 40 dirty towels.
But yeah,
Come
I
back
like
to-
that, like he's like turning the sheets and he's just kind of
I got the milk, eggs, and fabric softener.
Yeah, getting fabrics off
That's
there.
the very end.
I'm not getting fabric softener.
I got the milk to egg. It's almost like he has an accent.
Yeah,
at
he
that
does say it
point that's
weird.
Never
and the
been
fabric, he turns into the little kid from Big Daddy there, and the fabric softener.
True. It's like exactly that cadence. So you woke up and the family was gone once. So this actually happened to you, from what I hear.
Yep.
But he would have heard a ruckus.
Oh, a bunch of it.
Bunch of ruckus was going on down there.
They literally
I think
had-
there was comical.
Like, there's like literally one of those Benny Hill scenes of everyone running around. So like,
I'm not saying he should have gotten into a car on his own and packed his bag, but he definitely knew there was ruckus going on down there.
He woke up.
Maybe that's why it's like my whole
Rolled
family
over.
was taken from me. Like I heard it all happen.
Survival guilt. I like. It's not. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Oh,
I'm
just
gonna
up there
eat candy.
screaming.
Yeah,
That reminds me.
I like that take.
Have you seen the YouTube channel where they put like sort of somber music with different like movie trailers?
Yeah.
And they changed Home Alone to a horror movie.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Just with different music, and it's the same trailer. But
Do you know what the best one of those is that completely checks? It's Mrs. Doubtfire as a horror movie.
Oh, that one's
It's
funny.
got so many scary things.
comment, you just got to move that statue right out front.
I like the callback,
Well,
though.
it's crazy that people keep hitting it because you literally would have to get off the road and like you just follow the lane. Like you would be veered
if the
towards
statue
the
wasn't
house.
there, the stairs are gone.
I've done some delivery in my day. Mark, I know you have camera.
Sure.
I think you even have.
Oh yeah.
How hot are you coming into driveways?
not
Not
Pizza
that
Boy
hot.
hot.
Not Pizza
He
Boy
was-
hot.
Slow
I was
down.
delivering cakes and pastry, so slow as can be.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't.
Question: is there any chance you would ever take the Catherine O'Hara deal of like, I'll give you all this money to stay here one more night?
I'd immediately think scam has happened. We're
Oh,
talking
100%.
about the airport scene where
Okay.
she's convincing the two elderly
Yeah,
couple.
well, I guess this
Which
happened.
she does, though. She gets on that flight.
You jumped a little too far, but let's
Sorry,
talk about it.
This
No,
does happen though on regular flights though, where they'll be like, we need to bump two people.
From
If you,
the airline.
Yeah, I would. I've never taken
From the airline.
Yeah, but I've never taken one of those. So why? I guess would I take a random
From
ladies?
a stranger?
Never.
On an international flight? So here's all the red flags with that. One, she's scamming you, whatever. She doesn't have first class tickets.
She doesn't have a ticket.
Back in 1990, you could just get into the terminal of any airport.
pre-9/11.
This is pre 9/11. You can get there.
You can sell. You can scalp your tickets there.
Yeah, I don't even know if you needed an
But she was
ID
gonna
then.
give her a fake Rolex, some earrings,
Does
a
it?
ring.
Do you
Big
think it?
bang.
$500
ones.
cash? Yeah, the dang.
So here's the
ones.
biggest thing, right? The cash is useless, right? Because you're going to blow that getting a hotel
Hotel,
in
yeah.
Paris on Christmas Eve for a night and a half. So
Oh,
that
turns
money's
out-
gone.
Turns out there's nowhere to stay.
Oh, no. We got
Oh, they're
robbed.
going back to.
But they're flying from Paris, so they're in Paris, right?
correct, yeah, you're
The
right.
big question is, though, is it worth it to upgrade to first class? Maybe.
maybe.
On an international
On a
flight,
long
that
flight.
might be your argument.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, it's gonna make you really hate the whole airport scene and the whole that like trying to find a flight back earlier than everybody else. And
Oh, the fact that
dra-
she shows up at the same time as the dad.
Yeah, not only less than 5 minutes later, everybody else just shows back up.
And
to
she
the
had to
house.
suffer through a gangbang of a polka band in the back of a van. So I mean,
Yeah, she heard some John Philip Sousa that she didn't want to hear. Unconsensual John Philip Sousa.
Here's a red flag. Catherine O'Hara. Once she stays at the airport and the family goes to the brother-in-law's apartment, you're out of contact with your wife.
100%.
So not only is your kid at home alone, your wife is alone in France.
I thought about that too this time around because he just kind of lightly says, "Don't let me lose you too," and they laugh and part. But I'm like, this is serious. Your son's there. You guys are about to lose contact. Like, for all he knew, like he got home, found Kevin, and then Catherine O'Hara never got home.
Well, no, like
He left her in Paris.
Unless she knew the phone number to the brother-in-law's apartment, they're not talking to each other. She's in Paris.
Oh, also, like as a touring musician, it seemed like that polka band has a horror story when John Candy's like, Lou doesn't like talk to his kid. He hasn't seen him in 2 years. He doesn't even know his kids. What the fuck's wrong with this polka band?
Heavy drinking, I think. Probably. They look like they pound beers. Just pound beers and kill bosses. And don't fucking visit their families. They seem like great, endearing guys, just bad dads. You know, living that lifestyle.
Can we take it to the night before the night of when Kevin's meeting old man Marley at the church?
I would love to talk about Old Man Marley.
There's just one kind of line I thought was kind of funny when old man Marley first comes over and he's like, "Do you want to know what I'm doing here today?" If he was like, "I killed my family 50 years ago and now this is the only place I can go.
I come here to repent every Christmas.
Everything you heard is true."
Old man Marley is not doing anything to help his reputation though. Like he's kind of like he's really leaning into the rumor.
Hanging out. He doesn't even defend himself when he's talking to Kevin all that much. I know there's a lot of bad stuff. What's he say? He says like there's a lot of bad things going around about me.
Yeah.
Moving on. Like he doesn't say it's not true.
Well, again, which is
right?
why he's like, and it's true, but
They're also talking like just like at full voice in that church, like, "Hey,
You know,
excuse me."
You know who's not gonna get told to shut up? Old Man Marley.
That's true.
It's like,
Old Man Marley.
let it ride. Let
might-
that psycho who came in during rehearsal ride. Can I have a little sneaky thing about the layout of the house?
Sure.
We see the parents' bedroom where Kevin holds out, like makes his fort, and we see Bud's room,
Buzz.
Buzz's room,
Buzzes.
but we never see Kevin's room. No. It's just kind of weird.
The attic, Jordan, that is his room.
Not again. Fish heads. Sorry.
This is just a throwaway comment. It's a bit nitpicky, but you know when Kevin's running from Harry and Marv and they're chasing him in the van? It's right after they almost hit him. And he's like, why would he run? Why would he run from us? And he hides in the nativity scene.
You're sick!
Everything in that nativity scene is plastic, and yet he somehow has a cloth robe to like put over himself. Just it's always bugged me over the years. Like, where'd he get that?
Sometimes they swaddle baby Jesus.
Are you sure they're all plastic?
It's all plastic or wooden, like nativity scene, and he's the only thing with like a cloth robe.
I didn't notice it enough. I definitely know he's in a robe.
I love that part. I'm like, oh, that's such a smart move. I always thought it was
but
such a smart move.
I have two red flags about this whole situation. If I'm a kid and I'm running from scary people, I'm never going into church at night. That's as scary as it comes.
Sanctuary. I've seen Hunchback in Notre Dame.
Yeah, but we're not gypsies. Like, there's got to be a neighbor
or
a house.
Freaks
Like
for the most part.
Just saying,
I know I'm ugly.
And Mark is ugly.
He is a monster. Go back and listen to our episode on Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
And out there. We can redo it for you. But secondly, I am baffled at this exact scene when Harry's like, What's he running for? It's like you're chasing him with a van.
Yeah, it's that. You almost hit him and now you're creeping behind him. I have another timeline thing that just has always bugged me. It is nighttime at the church when Kevin says, I have to like defend my house kind of thing. And he doesn't start setting up the traps until the sun's down. He would never have the time to run up and get all those booby traps going. Now, this is a bit just question about the escalation of Marv and Harry. I mean, clearly they just started having a lapse in judgment. They went from burgling at night to just doing stuff at day. And what do you do? What are you trying to interrupt with? What do you got? What are you doing?
There's a snap. I'm accentuating your point. You're going to say they go from robbers to murderers?
100% yes. They
snap of my fingers.
And I get that like they've been tortured by Kevin, but they're pretty willing to bite off his fingers one by one at the end, and that seems a pretty big jump to just robbing.
In his defense, his head got caught on fire.
True. Why do you look like a chicken?
Well, after my head gets caught on fire, job is over.
Yeah. The first thing I get hit or step on, not going any further.
So they rob the neighbor's house, right? What do they get? Sort of trinkets and just different figurines,
telescope, gyroscope thing.
Kaleidoscope?
There we go. Thank you.
So let's say the McCallisters is twice that much. Like, it's not worth it. Don't kill a kid.
Oh, no. You shouldn't kill a kid.
Now, I have a pretty big animosity with Old Man Marley here. So why doesn't he check about what's going on with Kevin McCallister? Like, he calls the cops and he's like, well, Kevin, see you later. You have nothing to do with this. I'm not going to check in on you at all.
Because when he's off camera, he's dealing with deep, dark thoughts of his own.
Let's not act like Old Man Marley isn't a little weird.
He's very weird.
The encounter at the little like five and dime, like he puts his like bloody hand down on the.
Let's not talk about the bloody hand. What's going on with that bloody hand?
Shoveling, a lot of shoveling. It's just
shoveling,
blisters from shoveling.
But he's not trying to scare little Kevin.
Yeah.
And even the scene in the church almost has a vibe from Disturbia, where the neighbor comes out and sits like, I know what you're doing.
Yes.
I know you're scared of me. Only turns into a we both have family issues thing instead of I'm going to kill you later.
We're all dealing with
it. I don't exactly get why Kevin was so against getting police involvement. I mean, I guess he knows that he's probably getting put in a foster home because his family disappeared. But like, the whole thing is flawed about getting the cops involvement. He should have just called them. Or number two, he has that BB gun. My plan would have been like, they don't know that's fake. They would have opened the door and I would have just been like, if you take a step, I'll shoot you. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. And I bet it would have been fine. They would have been like, oh my God, this kid's crazy and he has a gun.
Was he scared of the cop when he came there? Why didn't he go down? Did he think it was burglars?
He thought it was the burglars coming back.
Does he still this whole
time?
Again,
the cop just has to go in.
Well, then the shoplifting thing, so I think he thinks that too. He's a little kid. Yeah, so that like I think it's a mixture of little kid things, I guess.
Trickle down, Mossy, you can't slide that long on your knees. Really pisses me off.
Whoa!
Secondly,
you also can't survive just like a paint can to the temple. But
okay. So let's talk about which ones are the worst. I know which one I hate the most.
The iron to the head's gonna kill you. The paint cans to the head's gonna kill you.
So let's get past everything's gonna kill you, because everything's gonna kill you.
Most of it. Mm-hmm. And there's many sources of this, Mythbusters, things have gone on about the actual medical issues that would happen. So just check those sources.
I hate the nail in the foot.
Ooh,
but I think it's egregious. I think it's egregious that is it Marv or Harry? I can't remember.
Marv.
I think it's egregious that Marv loses that much clothing.
True. I kind of forget why he loses.
Marv has his tetanus shot, because that was a like a 3-inch nail that went into his foot.
Marv doesn't have his tetanus shot. I can
Doesn't.
answer that right
Yeah.
now. Look at him.
The moment the door burned me at the beginning, I'd be like, oh, not going further.
Is that thing that makes the door hot? Is that start a grill?
I think so.
It's an electric
Yeah,
grill
what is-
starter.
what
I've
is that?
always wondered that, and I don't know.
Always
if that's-
wondered that.
I think so.
Hit us up on the movie posters. This is the only thing I actually want someone to answer us, and I'm
What
not
is-
going to look it up
It's
on my
the thing
own.
The red hot
the
glow,
red hot
yeah.
thing he hangs on the door.
I think what you
Yeah.
do is you put that in coals, and it gets coals hot for a grill.
Nice.
tough
Do you
to
want
pick one.
actually? Do you know what kind of annoys me about some of the pranks? Like 40% of them, if they just would have looked down, they would have been like, "Oh, there's Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
Oh, there's cars. Oh, there's tax." Like if you just look where you're going, you can avoid 90%
I like the
of the stuff.
tarantula improv. Kevin
Oh,
does.
Oh yeah, that was on the fly.
He almost got there.
On the
He-
fly.
Oh yeah, that was the end. He was about to get his fingers bit off and I think skin peeled off.
Oh, unverified. I think Joe Pesci actually bit his finger and he left a scar. I'm
yeah,
pretty
I
sure
heard
that's
something
unverified.
about that.
He left a scar on Macaulay Culkin.
Oh wow.
So I did think about this with these characters. Obviously, yes, they would die from many things or get very, very injured.
Right.
But I'm comparing this to a lot of other kids' movies where there's over-the-top violence. This one plays not realistic, but the tone of it is Looney Tunes come to life,
little
but in a
bit.
good way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Acme, yeah.
But think of so many movies that are so dumb. Even as kids, you're like, this is stupid. You know what I mean?
It is weird that this one played so well when
It
it was
did,
over
and I
the top.
don't know why, but I think we agree,
I think
right?
the comedic aspect of it, I think it's just literally that they were so funny and been doing it that it plays better.
But even though those two,
And the effects were practical too. There was nothing
That's
that
true.
wasn't out of the realm of possibility.
no, not one of the criminals like inflated themselves,
Yeah.
or, like farted for 40 minutes.
There was no
or something
magic
like-
involved.
Yeah.
It just was like a
Sus-
robbery taken around Christmas.
Yeah, it was just sustaining head injury after head injury after head injury.
I don't even think there was egregious sound effects really with them.
Yeah, not really, no.
The moment you had like a like
yeah. So they just played a little more real, and it worked better.
Does Kevin ever tell his family what happened? Do they ever know?
No, they don't communicate. Like in general.
What about after the New York thing when he does it again? He's like, by the way, crazy, but this is actually the second time I've done this to these two guys. This movie is a nostalgic Christmas classic. It has a lot of sources to find information anyway, so we were trying not to touch too much on things like the movies that made us on Netflix and other sources you can check out. So if there's anything we missed for sure that aren't on one of those, hit us up on the movie poster, but we're going to move on to recasting. Recasting. It's a big one, but I didn't go too crazy. Did anyone go lower than Gus? That would be the John Candy role.
Let's start with
I have a
Buzz.
pizza boy. Can we start with
Yeah,
pizza
yeah,
boy?
that's low. Let's
great.
start low. Start low and we'll work with
I
the
got a
family.
pizza
Mark,
boy.
who's your
I
pizza boy?
want like a super bad Jonah Hill. Like I don't know, just come in and be
Okay.
like,
I'm kind of on the same. Like we went similar. I went John Mulaney.
forgetting
Okay.
Sarah Marshall Jonah Hill, where he comes just like
I didn't do it, but off the top of my head, I'm just throwing in David Cross, but he'd be young.
Ooh, no, I like old David Cross. It makes it be. I like now David Cross.
Who'd you have for Gus, the John Candy guy? I'm going to throw mine away because I've done this for all of them. I did Rick Ducommun again because he's my John Candy switch out.
Okay, I got you.
He's
I'm
from
surprised
the,
you didn't do.
from the
That's
Burbs,
actually-
from Spaceballs, Rick Ducommun. He beat the shit out of us too.
I did Jack Black, a polka playing Jack Black.
I'm fine with that too. That totally works. And I believe you've done him before. That's kind of, I feel like, your John Candy replacement too.
So I went against who I normally do. I would have done John Goodman, but
That is usually your John Candy, yeah.
But I thought
we're
about-
we're all doing.
no. I did Robin Williams. I think he has the temperament to play that role.
Oh, interesting.
Broken man could play an instrument, but it's nice and endearing.
How about Uncle Frank? Do you guys do Uncle Frank, you little jerk?
I don't like mine a lot, so I'm gonna go first. I did Michael Ironside.
Okay.
John Malkovich, just like him.
Okay. That works for me too.
Really went big on it for me.
I did Jeffrey Tambor. He's the dad. He's the grandpa from
Oh.
Arrested Development.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was actually pretty proud of that one.
That one's
Hold on,
actually
look at
really
picture.
good.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty proud of all mine this week. Do you guys want to do Old Man Marley? Did anyone do that?
Oh no, not at all.
I did.
I did Chris Cooper,
Chris Cooper. Okay.
asshole dad from October Sky.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Scary. He's
I'd like
scary
to see
looking
him
guy.
with a beard too.
Hear me out. Mine's kind of looks alike a little bit, but James Cromwell. He's the old that'll do pig babe. He's
Oh,
like the
sure.
also
Oh, I like
Shawshank
that.
Redemption. His voice is a little too soft, maybe, and he seems too delicate. But he also seems he has
guy's-
stern eyes.
That guy's a delicate character actor though.
exactly.
I mean, sorry,
Damn,
the character. The
Cameron is
character's
dead on
Cameron.
this.
Cameron won that one.
guys, just wait for the
Cameron
rest
is
of
on
them.
a
Jesus.
roll right now.
I should have saved Malkovich for later.
You guys want to do Buzz?
I've got some hitters coming up. Yeah, let's do Buzz. Kevin, go first.
Thomas F. Wilson. He's just Biff from Back to the Future.
Oh, sure.
Biff Buzz. I just switched out some B's.
Danny Tamborelli.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
Why not?
Donkey Lips. Also, I guess from.
Could do Goldberg, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Mark. Before I
The Great Hambino.
we got to stop before we say Marks.
I did Jesse Plemons.
Okay.
that's
yeah.
good, yeah.
He's from Breaking Bad and Game Night.
Fargo now.
I believe so.
Some good Black Mirror episodes.
What about Peter McCallister, the dad?
Ed O'Neill.
Okay. You just picked a classic dad.
Another dad.
Can't hate that.
Well, I did the same thing with
Mark,
mine.
I think you're going to like mine. Somewhat a looks thing, but I did William Russ. He's the dad from Boy Meets World.
Did Kevin Costner.
Oh, Mark's, you can't see, but he's very excited.
I don't remember Boy Meets World. I can't
Let's
even
do the
picture
mom.
the dad.
I did the mom from Boy Meets World.
Oh,
I did
nice.
Betsy Randall.
Oh, cool. Mark, Jordan, who is your dad again?
I'm sorry.
I did off mic Kevin Costner.
Oh, that works great.
Just why not?
I love him as a dad. Mark, we're going on to the mom now. You did, what's her name from? Sorry.
Betsy Randall. I did the mom from Boy Meets World.
Nice. I like that we got that little
Connection there.
I did an, as always, uninspired Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she could really kill the Kevin line.
Kevin.
Yeah.
I again did the same one I always do for Catherine O'Hara. I did Madeline Kahn from Clue and from Young Frankenstein. She's part of the Mel Brooks gang.
I get it. I don't think that this is really a comedic role, so I didn't lean into comedian.
This is a Sally Field role.
That could work.
Ooh,
That's
It's
good.
Miss
I like
Doubtfire. It's
that.
Chris Columbus.
I like that. That's actually good.
The next ones I have are Marv and Harry. You guys ready for those? Do you have any
Yeah,
other
do
solid?
Marv, Harry, then Kevin.
Yeah, that's what I have. Cool. Let's start with Marv. He was mentioned earlier, and I got scared. I did Chris Elliott. You would know him from Scary Movie and
When that was said, it popped in my head. I can't believe you thought of that. Son of a bitch.
I was so happy if that
God
one did.
damn it.
You would also know him from something about Mary. He's the friend in that,
And Schitt's Creek.
and the Tostitos commercials from back in the day.
Oh, killer. Damn, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I did Harland Williams.
Okay, I love
Oh,
that.
all right. Fuck. Man,
I
these are all
feel like
better.
he'd be
That's great.
He'd be an awesome Marv.
I did Jeff Daniels. I'm channeling Dumb and Dumber in a sense.
I'm fine with that as well. I like everybody's.
Oh,
Let's move on to his counterpart, Harry, Steve Buscemi.
Chuck. Oh.
He's a little gruff. He'd be a little of that attitude and like in your face, but I couldn't
No,
think of someone as
he's
gangstery
the-
gruff, you know?
He's the cynical one. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Damn it. I like that one too.
I told you I did good this week.
I'm doing awful.
I went DeVito.
Okay, I thought about that, but I didn't,
crossed my mind,
I didn't
yeah.
want people to come at me, so I like that choice. I like DeVito.
What do you mean coming at you?
Is
Is he canceled?
No,
No, Jordan does them a lot.
Okay, so I'm like, who's a gangster type character? So
I thought that too.
I want Harvey Keitel.
Okay, that works. Do you want to know who I initially
Damn,
thought?
I like Buscemi though a lot.
Oh, I know. That's good. I told you I did great.
God damn.
I thought Ray Liotta, but there's no funny in that.
of
I
course.
want
It's
someone
just
squattier though.
Kevin McCallister. I actually really like mine.
I'll go first.
I want Cameron to wait. I want him to
Yours
have
is
the
last
walk off
night,
just in
closer,
case.
So I'm gonna strike out at first at bat. I just went Elijah Wood.
No, so
I
did
like
I.
him. Okay,
him at
good.
that age is perfect. He was charming. He was wise beyond his years at
I
that
don't
age.
know.
No,
it's a good pick.
think
but
about Huck Finn.
Huck Finn.
Think about his
Huck Finn
performance
is
in
a
that, and it would have been right around there.
I'm not saying mine's going to be better, but I don't see it as much.
That's fine. It's tough because this is an iconic role. It's tough to not see Macaulay Culkin.
I also thought
It
that
is,
because
yeah.
the good son, they play against each other,
play
and they're
against each
both
other.
like very
Elijah
great,
Wood?
yeah, very great
Okay.
performances from both of them in that one. So
Go for the glory, Huck.
A young, like even Steven Shia LaBeouf.
Ooh, I don't hate that,
yeah, that works. I'm never gonna hate on the young Shyla.
but we don't agree with adult Shiloh.
He's currently under maybe
Stop saying Shiloh, both of you. Like his name is not Shiloh.
but it is right now. Shia LaBeouf. So this one has a million what ifs, so I'm just gonna roll through them.
For who?
Everybody, but
Okay.
I'm gonna try to go quick. Tim Robbins was up for Marv. John Voight was up for Peter McCallister. Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill were for Peter McCallister. Most of these, honestly, for Peter McCallister, the
I like
dad.
the Sam Neill one.
Robin Williams was up for Kevin McCallister, or Peter McCallister, sorry. Now here comes a big one. These were all also for Peter McCallister, the dad. A lot of people.
Hook.
Tim Allen, Michael Keaton, Bryan Cranston, Ted Danson, Richard Gere, John Lithgow, Christopher Reeve, and Warren Beatty.
The dad is such a non-thing for me.
Yeah.
Like it could have been anybody, and like,
Could have
would have
been
still been
anybody.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
I would have liked Keaton out of that list, though, just for what it's worth.
for the
Michael Keaton.
oh, that would have been good for the Joe Pesci role. The people up for it were Robert De Niro, John Lovitz.
I had Robert De Niro on my big board.
I thought you said John
he
Lovitz.
was in there. John Lovitz was like
John Lovitz would work. That'd be funny. Christopher Lloyd actually was very high up and almost had the role, but it was a scheduling thing and he backed out.
That would have been great.
But he almost had it. Bob Hoskins, Dudley Moore, Phil Collins, fun. Danny DeVito was up for it. Kevin Pollak, Rowan Atkinson, Michael Biehn, James Caan, Kevin Kline, Tommy Lee Jones, Ray Romano.
I had Tommy Lee Jones on my big war too.
John Stamos. What? Weird, right? Brad Garrett. That would make sense to me. Gene Hackman and Kurt Russell.
I did want to ask you if you agree with this, that this movie hit so well because I don't know if the best actor is a way to describe Macaulay Culkin, but he's not too showy.
Yeah.
And he plays it straight enough, but he still is charismatic for a kid.
He's super charming in it.
Yeah, but not over the top.
No, he's right in between where he's a kid who just happens to also get it. He's like, oh, I can act.
Yeah.
Without being a 40-year-old man stuck in a child's body.
Exactly. Or being a Disney kid where it's like, I'm in show business.
Yeah, he wasn't like on the new Disney Club with like a Justin
yeah.
Timberlake and showy. Yeah, I get it.
Good call.
Nice.
Should we move on to Mount Rushmore, top 4?
Mount Rushmore, top 4.
All right, welcome back to Mount Rushmore. This week, in honor of this movie and having such prominent scenes in airports, we're going to do great scenes that are set in airports. The whole movie doesn't have to be set in an airport.
Shouldn't be.
But it could be. We could all do the terminal.
This movie
Whatever, I
has maybe,
digress.
This movie has maybe one of the most iconic airport scenes of all. Just that running through, run, Rudolph.
For sure.
So this week we're picking our favorite airplane scenes from movies, iconic airplane scenes in movies.
Airport scenes.
Airport scenes. And I
won rock, paper, scissors, I think it's 2 weeks in a row.
This might be the third. Who knows? But
He rocked the shit out of Jordan, and then he just rock papered the shit out of me.
this is number 1, but I'm about to throw out a just classic movie, a big hitter. I'm throwing out Casablanca. The end with the plane, and this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and here's looking at you, kid. Like, iconic. Huge
I'll always have
iconic.
Paris.
So, I mean, I'm taking that one off the list.
Can't argue. It definitely was in contemplating for it. My only thing is that the tarmac or the airport?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a little different. It's a little
bit tarmac.
so
I'll give it
that.
airport.
But yeah, I got you.
They go in and out of
for
the
sure.
hangar.
It's maybe
For sure.
the most iconic airport scene.
Correct.
Which is why I took number 1. Who's
All right.
number 2?
Jordan. I'm gonna go with Catch Me If You Can.
Nice.
Ooh, that's
I thought
good.
about that.
You could
too.
pick a lot of different scenes than that, but which one are you picking?
I think I'm picking the one at the very end where he's
chasing. I'm not chasing after you, Frank.
Yeah,
that
he just
one.
comes. I don't know, that little hallway there. That just reminds
That's
me
the most
such
poignant airport
a
scene, I
50s
think.
airport.
I'll take a better visual from you. It's when he's using the stewardesses as the human shield and walking through Miami.
That's beautiful. Like just that portion of it. But
movie
yeah,
is
there's
just
so
fucking
many
amazing.
good. In fact, God, I love that movie.
God, I really do love him.
So I was torn
movie.
between two great ones, and I'll save the one I think you guys would like more for honorable mention.
Right.
But mine is definitely Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve Martin's scene where he says "fuck" like a million times out of nowhere. Go look at it if you haven't seen that movie. It's a good movie, but that one's so good.
We've been talking about doing it for years for our November Thanksgiving, so maybe eventually
one of
we'll
the
get there.
few-
So go back through our picks. Cameron, you picked
I did Casablanca.
I did Catch Me If You Can.
And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve
Which
Martin is swearing it up.
Brings us on to our honorable mention, our honorable mentions. Anyone else going on in there? And Love Actually, I'm going to throw that out there. Starts, ends on the plane scene. It kind of links the whole thing together.
Almost Famous.
Ooh,
yeah.
I thought about that, but I didn't know if I wanted to go with,
This
That's
is
a good honorable mention.
That's a great one. That's come up a lot recently. We should do that movie soon.
Can I please say this one before you guys get to it? It's Spinal Tap when he goes through the metal detector. I mean, you can't not
Wasn't
love
even
it.
on my list. That's so good,
didn't cross
though.
my mind. I got another comedy for you that I think is kind of fun. Dogma at the beginning when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are just hanging out in the terminal and these people watching.
Yeah, that one's actually really good. I know there's some like romantic comedies. I think When Harry Met Sally has some good ones, but not enough to go.
When I was searching lists, they put Casino Royale on a lot
Yeah,
of
that
lists.
is the
Just
big-
there was an airport chase.
That's
the
huge.
scene with the plane crashing and him going through the terminal. Yeah, that's a
sure.
good one.
I like Casablanca.
Well, I got one last one for you before we end it. And go
Okay.
back and see our episode of Final Destination, the beginning when they're boarding the plane and it
I
blows
thought
up.
about
That's
that,
a pretty
yeah.
big one as well. Thanks for listening to our take on Home Alone. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as always, this is just a grassroots podcast. We do not have any ads. The only way we grow is through your kind recommendations. So if you like our little movie club and you think other people would like to join along, make sure you recommend to friends and family. You can find us on social media at Cult Classics Pod, and you can write in your movie requests to cultclassicspodcast@gmail.com.